Okay, guys, we are back. This is the GOAT cast, and this is a something that's piggybacking off of yesterday's Golden State Warriors end of an era video, where I talked about how this seemed like the swan song for this iteration of the Golden State Warriors, the quote unquote dynasty era. And I think that last night pretty much solidified what I said yesterday, that this is the end of the Warriors as we know them, as the Steph, Clay, Draymond, just running gun, 3 point splash brothers. I think all of that is slowly coming to, not slowly, but it is crackling into a full out explosion of the team. Last night, I expected them to come out and punch the Lakers immediately, punch them hard, and really fight and grind for a win. And it was a very winnable game. It wasn't exactly tooth and nail, but it was back and forth. It was a game of runs. One team would make a run, and then the other team would answer back, with unanswered offense or something, and then it was just back and forth like that. But in the end, the Lakers won 104 to 101 with an unlikely hero in Lonnie Walker, the fourth, who hadn't even been playing, had no rotation minutes until probably the last couple games, outside of just garbage minutes. So that talks to you about the depth of the Lakers, and I'm still not on that bandwagon as far as a fifth ring for LeBron or another ring for the Lakers, but they're certainly making it hard to. It's hard not to put them in that conversation right now with the way they're playing, and it's going to be highly, highly critical for one team out of that other Western Conference semifinals to make it out. Because if the team that I think won't make it out, if they end up making it out, Lakers might just waltz into the finals with little to no resistance. But that's beside the point. That's not even what we're here to talk about. How we're talking about how the Lakers exposed the Warriors, and it's pretty much easy. The Warriors are not the Warriors of 2015, 2016, or any of those years, because Clay and Steph are older. They've been through quite a few injuries, and the game has caught up to them. The death lineup and things like that were things that you had seen little bits and pieces put in place in the NBA, but when they did it, they were all in. It was small ball lineup. They just outgunned you. They outran you. They swarmed you on defense. They, they had a varied attack where, Steph could drive it in, Clay could go in, they could hit mid range, they could hit threes at high volumes. There was just really, and they had a bench. They had a bench that could, you had Iguodala, you had guys, Sean Livingston, guys that could, Leandro Barbosa, guys that could come off the bench and give you meaningful minutes and keep the same type of energy that you started with. So you had quick guards that could, and forwards and wings that could just come in and just blitz the defense and just swarm the offense. And since then, it's been, since the injuries and since the team guys kind of fizzled out. They had a lot of veteranship with Iguodala, who's still there, but he's a shell of himself. And Livingston's gone, Barbosa, all those guys are gone, and they're trying to incorporate more younger guys into their system, but their development hasn't quite been been beneficial so far. They had Wiseman, who they thought would be a pillar of their future, but unfortunately he didn't pan out. I don't think they gave him enough time, to be honest. But we saw guys like Giannis, who I'm not comparing Giannis at all to Wiseman to Giannis, but it took him a while to get into the body of an elite NBA player. And Wiseman's still young, and his body just he still got to work on that aspect of the game. But I felt like they kind of gave up on him a little early, but I'm not in the practices with them, so they might have seen the development and the want to not there for him. So I can understand that if he just wasn't putting in the work to get better, then that's understandable. But they bring in guys like Moody, Kaminga. They keep Looney, who was a part of those championships, most of those championship teams. He's actually really developed. They've helped develop him into a semi-monster, even though I don't know what's going on with him this series, but he's just not been the same since game one. But that's a whole nother story too. But, they've tried to incorporate some younger guys, but it just hasn't quite, it led to a championship last year, but that was on the backs, I believe, of Steph and Clay and a resurging Clay. And, Jordan Poole, who came in and that was a contract season for him. So he had a lot to prove. Now he's got his contract and he still, I assume it has something to prove, but he's just not proving it in the way he did last season for the most part. So where they're exposed is that, as I said, and we saw this in the Sacramento Kings series too, teams have caught up to the Warriors. The Warriors can't swarm and do the things that they did. They're a good passing team, but they don't have the veteranship they had before. They're desperately missing a big man, in the sense of a big man that they can lob the ball to, somebody athletic that can, rim run. Whereas they have an Andrew Wiggins, but they don't utilize him, and that's why I'm gonna bring this up later. But the Lakers have just beat them by sagging off a lot of the other players because they know their offense is going to run through only and mostly two players, and maybe three. Sometimes Poole, but mostly Clay and Steph. And what do Clay and Steph like to do? They like to shoot. So they're putting guys out there on them. Even though they'll screen and cut and do all those things, they'll constantly have somebody running out on that three-point line for them, which, Steph, he's one of the greatest shooters of all time, but the three ball, as great as it has become, is not the most efficient shot. So when you got guys running at you, and kudos to the Lakers for bringing in a lot of fresh and young legs and wings that can just run out there, and they have tall and lanky wings that can run out there and really challenge their shot. And neither guy are really the same guys that they were even 2-3 years ago. Clay had an extended, amount of time off. So the Lakers know that Looney's not going to beat you. JaMychal Green, he might hit a three every now and then, but he's not going to beat you. Draymond's not going to shoot. They have no inside presence. So they can have, LeBron and AD camped out, and the few times that they do try to attack the paint, those two guys are big and savvy enough to where, Clay and Steph don't have the greatest liftoff, so they're not going to get up there and sky over these guys. They're not a John Morant, so they could just camp out and just wait for them to try that, and get them an easy block, or make them try to pass out to somebody that's not a JaMychal Green or Draymond Green, who's they can make a shot every now and then, but they're not going to kill you from the outside. So they're playing the perfect defense for a team that's relying on two guys. And Jordan Poole, while great at times, will shoot you out the game. He'll just continually shoot long threes that make no sense. He'll have plenty of time on the shot clock, and he'll just throw up a three from nearly half court, which, when you don't have the inside presence, when Looney was healthy, I don't know what's wrong with Looney, that worked. But in this scenario, when you have a guy like Anthony Davis, LeBron James, Hachimura, when he's in there, you have these big, lanky guys that will, thank you. They'll get that rebound, and then they got guys already sprinting down the court. So what are you doing there? Why? They're basically playing into the Lakers' game plan. And so that's the big part, is that the Lakers defense know basically what the Warriors are going to do, because that's all the Warriors have right now. They have, and when I said about Wiggins, they don't trust Wiggins enough, and I think that's their biggest flaw. and they're not. And whereas the Lakers have guys like Hachimura, Reeves, Austin Reeves, Lonnie Walker this game, D'Angelo Russell the game before. They trust these guys to take shots. It's like the Warriors only trust Steph and Clay and to a minimum Jordan Poole to shoot these shots. Well, if you already know, and I tell my son this and anybody, if you know only a few people are going to take a shot, you're helping them defend you because if I know these three players are the only players that are going to take a shot, what am I going to do? I'm going to overplay them. I'm going to make sure that I race to those wings. I race to those, that 3-point line, wherever they're at. I race to there because I know they're likely going to take a shot. I mean, it's not hard. So it's not like Darvin Ham and LeBron are doing something groundbreaking, but it just shows that maybe Steve Kerr isn't the best coach that they want us to think he is. He inherited a lot of treasures from Mark Jackson, but that's another story altogether as well. But that's one aspect of them being exposed. Another is, basically what I said. Their varied attack is not there because they don't have the slashers. They don't have an Andrew Iguodala, younger Andre Iguodala, could slash. They do have Wiggins, but they don't incorporate him enough, especially down the stretch. They do not give him the ball enough where they need that type of gameplay where they have to slash and try to, get the defenders to draw in so they can kick it out to guys like Steph and Clay. But, if Draymond's doing it, nobody expects Draymond to take it all the way to the rack. Nobody. I mean, a church league would know not to, swarm Draymond on a drive because they know he's going to, he ain't going to sky over nobody, so that's their biggest problem. When you're too one-dimensional and you're so dependent on the Splash Brothers, then, the defense is going to really, and they have been exposing them. And the other thing is, and I have to give credit to the Lakers here, they have everybody playing in a LeBron role. Case in point, these guys are driving, kicking the ball out. Driving, kicking the ball out. So when you have LeBron able to do it, but he doesn't have to do it, he has other people that can come in and play his style, and play it well, and they can see if they're not going to respect the drive, then I'm going to drive it all the way in because they don't really have no shot blockers in there. And that's another glaring thing that the Warriors miss is a shot blocker. They don't have a JaVale McGee or nobody like that can, at least threaten to block your shot. So when you don't have that, those guys are free to go to the basket. And we talk about the foul discrepancy. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. The refs call what they want to call, and that's just the way it is in the NBA right now. They're going to call what they want to call. It doesn't matter if it's a foul, if it's not a foul, if it's a tic-tac foul, if it's a flagrant foul. They're going to call what they want to call. So you can't trust them on that. But, basically what the Lakers have done is they've exposed that the Warriors' offense only runs through a couple players. They don't really trust guys that they should in Wiggins. And they have guys Lakers have guys that have bought in and see that they have enough talent, enough skilled guys to where they can mimic LeBron, where LeBron can conserve all of his energy for the most part and pick and choose when he wants to score. And when you have that kind of dangerous offense, it's hard for a team to stop that because they're not going to stop LeBron, but they want LeBron to have the ball all the time because he will make some bad shots, take some bad shots, and he will, you can kind of uh, get him to get it to guys that may not make the shots that they need to make. But when you have him, not having to do that, and you have other guys, you have to respect LeBron, so you have to keep somebody on him. So if you try to swarm Austin Reeves or Dennis Schroeder or those guys, and you leave LeBron open, LeBron is going to make the right basketball move once he gets the ball again. So you have too much basketball IQ out there to really, and no shot blockers, no rim protectors. So you're just doomed. And I got to give credit to where credit's due. The Lakers are playing some phenomenal basketball on both sides. They have a lot of weapons. I'm curious to see how they match up with Denver, if Denver is their next opponent. But I'm not writing the Warriors off. They are a veteran team. I said this before. They've been through adversity. We saw this many years ago. Different scenario, but we saw them down 3-1 to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Came back, won the champion. Well, did they win the champion? They didn't win the championship that year, but they did come back from the 3-1 deficit to win that series. They lost in the same fashion in that finals, but that's neither here nor there. That did land them Kevin Durant. So, something good came out of that. So, I don't trust, because they're older, Steph and Clay aren't the guys they once were. If they still were, I wouldn't be too worried, because I know that they can each light up for 40 points or 50 points for that matter. But that's not, one can do it at a time nowadays because they just don't have the team or the IQ to get it done. So I expect game 5 to be, I expect them to just go for broke. And will that equate a win? I hope so. I think so. They're back at home. That crowd's going to be crazy. So they're going to will themselves to one more win. Whether that takes them to a game 6 and home, or a game 7 moving on, or a game 7 home, jury's still out. But kudos to the Lakers. They've exposed these Warriors, and the Warriors are going to have a tough time and a tough hill to climb to get to the conference finals. So let me know what you guys think. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy this content. That helps me to keep doing this. I'm in the back cave today, so I can't be on camera, but hopefully you enjoyed this, and hopefully you guys will stick around and give me some feedback. What do you feel about the series? You think it's over? How you feel about the Lakers? I've been down on them because I'm not a Lakers fan, but I gotta respect them. What do you think about the Warriors? Are they done? Do they still have some fight left in them? And will this be the last hurrah for the Steph, Clay, Draymond Warriors? So thank you guys. Take you guys later.